I think it's easier to call yourself a raw foodist, and I just ate, because it's easier to say raw foodist. I'm a raw foodist, and it sounds, it's raw. It's easy to say. People can identify with it, and you're taking an extreme measure with how you're approaching things, which can make people interested in you, make you a little more interesting. But I think that's going a little too far with food. Why not undercook it? Why not be a partial cook? Start a partially cooked movement or an undercooked movement instead. Why not, try to meet the cookists halfway at least? We could say that historically, our ancestors spent thousands of years not cooking food. But I mean, it only takes a few generations for our digestive system to change and adapt to a particular lifestyle. So it may be like 1,000 and some odd years, but we got to look not 100,000 years ago, but more recently, maybe a few generations back, and how those ancestors were living. All right, and try to follow their path. And break away if you want to a little bit, but not get too far, not get too crazy, and try to go well past that. And Darwin says that we evolved from apes. Apes are just so different. I mean, yeah, they have hands, and they could start fires with those hands, but their hands were designed for different functions. With climbing and all that. And of course, the brain power thing, the size of the brain and all that, and the coordination and all that, they don't have that capacity to remember everything that's involved with the process of starting fires. It takes a lot of effort for them to remember that, whereas it's more effortless for us to start fires. I mean, no other animal race has a fire department. We find starting fires so easy to do that we need also to start an organization to put a stop to those fires as well. We're too good at things in preparing stuff, and accidents happen over the course of being too good at something. Over time with thousands and thousands of people. The animals other animals don't even have that opportunity. And in our ancestors, they did 100,000 years ago, they had more difficulty. A flint, and they didn't even have really steel to strike a flint against. If depending on how much they figured out the flint and steel method. It's a lot. You really need steel to get that flint and steel thing going. Yeah, the stick and the rubbing sticks together to do it, that's extremely hard. That takes just such a large amount of effort there that a lot of our early ancestors were going to give up on that procedure. It wasn't until we were really able to control the malleable to make steel, then we could create more sparks and more fires that way, and then we were able to adapt a more cooking type of lifestyle. But yeah, it's you want to look at the more recent generations and how we're living, how they were living, and it's kind of racist too. But I focus on German types of foods, the potato and pork and all that, steak and eggs type of thing. That seems to be where my stomach has evolved from. For example, Asians tend not to be able to handle milk so well, so they're going to veer away from that. For them to start a milk movement, you can't just do that in one generation, just like the raw foodists can't just change everything in one generation.